An Indiana couple adopted a little girl from Ukraine. She had a rare form of dwarfism that made her small. Her paperwork said she was 6 years old, and within months they became convinced she was not a child at all, that she was a grown adult woman who had been scamming families for years by pretending to be a little girl. They took her to court, got a judge to legally change her birth year from 2003 to 1989, making her officially 22 years old overnight, and then they put her in an apartment alone and moved to Canada. This is the case of Natalia Grace, and nobody agrees on a single thing about it. Natalia was born in Ukraine in 2003 according to her original birth records. She has a rare form of dwarfism called spondyloepiphyseal dysplasia congenita, which affects bone growth and gives her an extremely small frame. Because of a flood at the hospital where she was born, her original records were incomplete. She was placed in an orphanage, adopted by a New Hampshire couple in 2008, then put up for readoption 2 years later. In 2010, Michael and Christine Barnett adopted her. They had 3 biological sons and ran a program for gifted children in Indiana. Christine had written a best-selling book about raising her eldest son, who was autistic and had been recognized as a prodigy. They believed they were giving a disabled 6-year-old girl a loving home. And then, according to them, everything went wrong almost immediately. Within months, the Barnetts claimed Natalia was not behaving like a child at all. They said she had adult body hair and menstrual cycles. They said she spoke about adult topics in ways no 6-year-old would. They said she hid knives around the house, placed thumbtacks facing upward on the floor so family members would step on them, threw their sons' toys into the street, allegedly jumped out of their moving car in public and acted distressed to make strangers think she was being harmed. And they claim that one night they woke up to find her standing at the foot of their bed holding a knife. Most shockingly, they claimed she had poured Pine Sol into Christine's coffee cup and said she wanted to kill her. The Barnetts became convinced that Natalia was not a child. They believed she was an adult woman who had been cycling through adoptive families using her dwarfism as cover. They pointed to the 2009 horror movie Orphan as an eerie parallel. A film about a couple terrorized after adopting a child who turns out to be a 33-year-old woman with a hormone disorder. Christine later said the movie had crossed her mind. In 2012, they went to court in Marion County, Indiana, and successfully petitioned a judge to legally change Natalia's birth year from 2003 to 1989, making her officially 22 years old, without any DNA test, without locating her birth mother, based largely on their own accounts and a medical assessment of her bone density. Then in 2013, they moved Natalia into an apartment in Westfield, Indiana, paid her rent for a period, and then moved the entire family to Canada for their eldest son's graduate studies. They left her there. A neighbor couple named Antoine and Cynthia Manns discovered Natalia alone and struggling. They took her in. When they filed for legal guardianship of her in 2016, they described her as an alleged incapacitated person who appeared to be between 13 and 14 years old, not 22, a teenager. In 2019, the Barnetts were charged with neglect of a dependent. They insisted they had done nothing wrong because as far as the law was concerned, Natalia was an adult. Michael was acquitted. The charges against Christine were eventually dismissed. Neither was convicted. And then the question that nobody had ever actually answered properly finally got answered. In 2023, a DNA blood test was conducted by a healthcare testing company. The results estimated Natalia's age as approximately 22 years old at the time of the test, which means she would have been approximately 9 years old when the Barnetts adopted her. Not 22, not an adult, 9. Natalia said in the documentary series that followed, "This one little piece of paper throws every single lie the Barnetts said right into the trash." She also alleged that Christine Barnett had abused her physically throughout the adoption, that the blood the Barnetts used as evidence she was menstruating was actually caused by Christine forcing her to use a tampon when she was 7 years old, causing her to bleed. She said Christine had once given her 3 times her prescribed dose of heart medication. She said Christine coached her to tell people she was older than she was, and Michael Barnett in the documentary appeared to suggest that Christine had manipulated him too, that he now believed his ex-wife had deceived everyone including him. Christine Barnett has declined to participate in any documentary. She maintains Natalia was not a child. She maintains she never abused her. And she maintains that a court of law cleared her of any wrongdoing. The question of what really happened inside the Barnett home is one that may never be fully resolved. Every allegation from one side is denied by the other. The one thing that DNA appears to have settled is her age. She was a child, a disabled little girl from Ukraine with a rare form of dwarfism, adopted twice, left alone in an apartment by the people who were supposed to love her, legally transformed by a judge into a 22-year-old woman so her family could walk away without consequences. Natalia Grace is now in her early 20s. She lives in upstate New York with a couple who also have dwarfism and who have known her since she was small. She says she is finally happy. She says she has a family that actually wants her. She spent over a decade fighting to be believed about who she was. A child, just a child. That is the case. Nova out.